Hi guys, Tom here from Fitness Business Solutions, and what I wanted to run through with you is some sales metrics and just maybe highlight some things that I think are really important for you and your business and your team. I think it's really important, much like a training program, that you understand kind of what is working and what's not working, and from there you can identify your limiting factors. I think this is something that often gets missed, and people are often going by feel. It's quite subjective. And it can be hard to gauge because there's so many other things that can influence how you're feeling about it. Okay, a kind of a simple approach you can take is, how many inquiries did you get? How many of those did you actually speak to? Because sometimes people will email you on a Sunday night at 2 o'clock in the morning and you'll never actually really get to talk to them. How many of those were successfully pre-qualified? I'm a big believer in pre-qualifying people. I think it just saves you a lot of time. It can often save you a lot of hassle, and I'll cover that in another piece. But how many of them were successfully pre-qualified? So what I mean by that is, how many of those did you go through a process with to figure out whether they were actually really in a position to buy or buy soon? Okay, and then the last one is, how many people bought? Okay, and this will give you a kind of an idea of where you're at, and from there you can reverse engineer it to get a handle on the issues. It might feel that your business isn't going really well, but when you start to track it every week and look at the trends and the percentages, you may notice that there isn't actually a sales issue, there's an inquiries issue because of the time of year that's in it. It may be that, you know what I mean, you sort of didn't pre-qualify enough people, so you met a lot of people, but when it came down to it, they probably or may not have been a really good fit for you. There's loads of sales guys out there that will say, you can sell to anybody. You can in one way, and you absolutely can't in another. It's important that you understand and know kind of who's a good fit for you and who you really want in your business. But if you track those numbers, it'll start to give you a handle on kind of where you're at and what maybe needs some work or what needs to be changed. Okay, to give you an idea, now this is by no means perfect, but to give you an idea of just how important having a pretty good sales process can be, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, we've got 3 coaches, A, B, and C. They all get 20 leads each a month. Okay, we're going to assume for the purposes of this that you're not losing clients. Now that isn't true, and you will lose. There's always attrition, but we're going to assume, just to do the maths here, that you're not losing any clients. Okay, a guy with a 70% close rate, 6 months later, will have 20 clients more than the guy with a 40% close rate. If we assume that they're paying 150 quid a month, okay, or in and around that, and you can change the number to suit you, okay, that's 3,000 euros a month extra. Okay, now in a business like this, where there's often small margin and big costs, 3,000 euros every month can be the difference between somebody paying their bills, covering their mortgage, and not, okay, by a considerable margin. Now we move into kind of C. Now this guy is kind of a different league. Okay, he's got an 85% close rate. Okay, so he's highly skilled and he knows what he's at, and he's also very hungry. Okay, over the course of 6 months, he's going to have 45 more clients, okay, than this guy. Okay, that's 6,750 euros a month, or 81,000 euros a year. Okay, now please bear in mind, going from a 40% close rate to a 70% close rate really isn't that difficult. It isn't that hard. Okay, think of squatting body weight and then squatting 1.5 times body weight. You're not talking about a huge jump. Going from 70 to 85, you're now getting into a very special place with a guy who, you know, is really doing the work, and I suppose that's more like, you know, squatting well over 1.5 times body weight, but then chasing double body weight. Okay, and we know people in fitness, you can't make that jump. Those little incremental jumps, they take a lot longer and there's a lot more work involved in them, but it is very doable. I think it's important that you're going to understand the difference here. This is huge, okay, from a guy from 40 to 70 is huge, but a guy from 40 to 85, you're talking about a different world, okay? I suppose it's also important to point out to the people who are looking at, you know, if you're a gym owner or if you're an employee or part of a team, okay, Coach C is an incredibly valuable asset to the business. Okay, whether they believe it or not, or whether you recognize it or not, they are. And once they get into that kind of space, they can change your business very, very quickly. They can accelerate your growth. And with all of that, they can demand a higher package. They can demand a bigger salary. They're in a very, very sort of good place. Okay. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about from a sales metrics point of view is it's really important to track this and understand it, because businesses that are much bigger and much better than any business I'll ever own, and maybe people that own, have gone bankrupt because they've ignored this stuff. Okay. And they've ignored it because they haven't paid attention to how many people are buying. You can have the best product in the world. You can be the best coach. You can be superb. But if enough people don't buy, you're going to have a problem. Be it in 6 months or a year or 18 months, you're going to run out of road. And once you do, it's not a nice place to be. So bear all that in mind. I hope you found it really, really helpful. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments below.